Deep inside caves, there's flooded bodies of water that have animals living inside them. Over thousands of years, these fish adapted to thrive in this certain environment, but lost their eyes in the process. About a month ago, I made my own version of this ecosystem and documented the whole process of unexpected events. But as time went by, it finally reached a balance in nature to become a self-sustaining ecosystem. And this video covers the whole process of setting up the enclosure to growing into a flourishing environment. Using a 30-gallon tank, I laid down some lava rocks that I smashed up with a hammer. The design I'm resembling here is an overhanging edge inside a cave. To hold the rocks in place, I use a spray foam so it secures them to the wall. The yellow cup you see is a filter but will act as a mini waterfall later in the video. After the foam dries, you can see it looks a bit unnatural, so I trimmed off a few pieces until it looked semi-decent. Using my jar collection of man-made glue, I coated the foam until it was properly coated. I made sure to cover every little piece so I can sprinkle on crushed lava rock to match with the original rockwork. Part of the reason why I'm using lava rock is because it's a great place for beneficial bacteria to grow. Alright guys, it's all done. I'm gonna flip it over now. Not bad. After getting all of the excess little pieces of rocks, I put it back on the fish stand. For the substrate, adding soil underneath the original sand will help store and cycle nutrients, which will ultimately help break down organic matter to help the plants grow. To make sure there's no air bubbles in the future, I wet down the soil to a creamy paste. After that's all done, I layer the top of the soil with some white sand. I chose white because it contrasts very well with the black. To make it diverse, I put brown sand in different spots, then filled the tank with water. To add some greenery, I put down some moss on the waterfall. Since I'm placing them directly over the stream, I'm hoping they will eventually grow over the rockwork. To add structure and hiding places for our inhabitants, I placed down some lava rocks. Using lava rocks for your enclosure is one of the best options so beneficial bacteria can grow in abundance. Since this is a self-sustaining ecosystem, it was mandatory to add plants to filter the water from toxins left behind by fish. If for any reason these plants die, they will become good food for little shrimps that may come across it. Deep in the darkness, it becomes inviting for new inhabitants to explore. A cave shrimp. You might think this is just an ordinary shrimp, but these guys are actually more talented than you think. Nibbling on pretty much everything in their path deems them as little cleaners of the ecosystem. These shrimps are omnivorous scavengers, so that means they eat decaying matter and uneaten food. These little shrimps pose no threat to other small fish, focusing on scavenging rather than hunting. Most of the time, I just see them grazing on plants, or exploring underneath the rocks to find something new. Most of the time, shrimps aren't the only creature in these environments. This is an albino catfish. They love grazing on the sand to find food. Just like our little shrimps, these catfish are bottom dwellers too. These catfish have little whiskers called barbels, ultimately helping them to find their food, which is pretty much all I see him doing all day. Or sometimes he looks kind of sad. Although they don't really like bright lights, most of the time I see him hiding underneath the cave.
Boy, get your out of my eating spot!
Nah.
The next day, I decided to feed them because they were probably hungry, and I gave them some bloodworms. It didn't take very long for a catfish to find it. You could see him nibbling on this piece of worm and grabbed another bite and then left. As a scavenger, it wasn't hard to track down some food. Since these shrimps are small, I got some leaves that I'm sure they would very much appreciate. Leaves are one of the most commonly found substrates on lakes or ponds. Decaying leaves like this also provide a healthy meal for shrimp too. You can see this red and white shrimp that I recently added, couldn't help but to check it out. To eat this leaf, they use their small pinchers to rip chunks off. If you look closely in this leaf, our small catfish found itself burrowing in a small little crack. The shrimp absolutely love the hiding places that it provides. At the same time, he gets to feed on a little leaf. Along with the new colorful shrimp I also got some free floating plants. Their roots can grow over a foot long, which will also provide a bunch of hiding places for the comfort of our fish. You can see that this shrimp couldn't resist to check it out. At this point, I let the tank sit for about a week to see what would happen. In about a week and a half, the tank developed a discoloration. Since the leaves have been soaking in the water, it releases a brownish tint called tannins. The benefits of the brackish water reduces light penetration. This leads to a calming environment that can lower stress for all the animals.
Hey, this is my spot!
No, it's mine! Loser!
The tannins can also promote biofilm growth, which is just this thin film on the top of the water, which shrimp love to feed on. As a few days passed, these salvinia plants started blooming new leaves. Some even drifted off to start a new bunch. But overnight, something unexpected entered the tank. Blind cave fish. Although some look like they have very tiny eyeballs, which made me think they redeveloped eyes when being kept as a pet. But what I noticed is that they always swim in schools, which made me think because I thought they were blind. Now, although they are blind, they do have a special power called a lateral line system. This allows them to feel vibrations and detect changes in water pressure, which allows them to coordinate movements and maintain schooling with their kind. You can tell that they have some sense of direction as every one of them looked underneath this leaf for food. Although the shrimps are a bit scared of these guys, they just hide underneath the leaves. Thankfully, the shrimps are a bit too big for the cave fish to eat though. Something weird that I noticed is that you can see their internal organs, but they're like that for a reason. In the wild, where there's absolutely zero light, there's obviously a lack of sun, and this results in a lack of pigment, making them a clear fish. That's also why a lot of other species are like this. I let them scavenge around for a day before I wanted to feed them. They can't see, but they rely on their sense of smell. But just in a matter of time, they at least picked up a few pieces. After they're all gone, they swarm the area to see if they could find at least one more piece. They didn't leave any scraps behind. As the tank matures, day by day, all the life in this tank establish relationships amongst each other. As the fish provide waste for the plants to grow, or even the leaves providing cover for the shrimp, this enclosure came from absolutely nothing into a flourishing, self-sufficient ecosystem. If you enjoyed this video, I have a bunch more just like this.